there, beautiful people, Steph Filipinas here, and welcome back to my channel, everyone. So for today's video, guys, I'm gonna be talking about the stupid, craziest, and dumbest mistakes that most of the foreigners actually do here in the Philippines while staying or traveling here. So if you do not want to do all these dumb things or crazy things, and you don't want to have a bad experience here in the Philippines, guys, then you should watch this video. Okay, so the first one is street foods. Okay, so I guess a lot of you are really want to respect the Filipino foods, and probably you have heard about this one from your friends or from your family who have traveled here in the Philippines already, and then they told you that, hey, you should go to this place, you should try their street foods. So guys, I just want to let you know that Philippines is one of the countries who actually has good foods, but when it comes to street foods, you have to be more, careful of that, because not all the street foods here in the Philippines are actually clean and safe to eat. So to avoid getting sick, to avoid getting to hospitals, then you should try to at least avoid some of the street foods. I mean, you can actually eat some street foods, but you have to make sure that the vibe or the ambience of the place is actually clean, especially if you're going to eat street foods and in a place where it has a food stall. So it's completely fine to eat street foods with there. But if you're just going to eat street foods literally along the road where a lot of people, like strangers, random peoples, will pass by in that area, with the air pollution coming from the traffic, from cars, from the vehicles, then yeah, you should be very careful with that. But you probably want to try street foods because it's much cheaper than eating out in a fast food or in restaurants. But again, if you're trying to save money, then you can just eat in a carinderia or a local eatery foods instead of eating street foods. We have our own different sensitivity when it comes to our stomach, guys. So maybe for other people or for other foreigners, they are okay with it, they don't have any bad experience eating street foods, but you don't know, like once you taste that one, you're gonna regret it at the end of the day. So just try to save money, but make sure that you are not depriving yourself, and at the same time you are also not hurting yourself, or you are not putting yourself in a dangerous situation after eating the street food. And aside from street foods, you also have to be very careful when it comes to water, like the tap water. Because to be honest with you, even Filipinos also have a sensitive stomach, and some Filipinos cannot also really drink the tap water because they are allergic to it, and some Filipinos are actually, very sensitive to drink a tap water. How much more if you are foreigners and you guys are actually not used to the waters that we have here in the Philippines. Even if you are staying in a really nice place, expensive place like apartment, condos, or hotel, you also have to be very careful with the drinking water, and you have to make sure, or at least ask a question to the waitress or to any of the staffs there, as if this is a tap water. I actually had a bad experience with this one, with the tap water, with my ex, because when he was here, we stayed in a hotel, and then we were having our breakfast, and then my ex-boyfriend was so okay, like he was really okay that time. But then after eating the breakfast and after drinking that water that actually has ice, like ice cube, well, the water that he drinks, it was actually a mineral water or a filtered water, but then he forgot that the ice cube was actually a tap water. So he regretted, and he was really frustrated that he forgot it. During that night, he was having diarrhea, guys. He kept coming back to the CR or to the toilet, and he even asked me to go to a pharmacy to buy like like a diet up or a medicine where to stop his diarrhea. So that's his bad experiences. So I don't want you to experience that one. So again, you can just buy mineral water in the convenience store like 7-Eleven or go to grocery stores. Other dumb things that most of the foreigners do here in the Philippines is that they have this mindset and they are thinking that they can easily find a job here in the Philippines. Okay, so you know what? I am sorry to say, guys, but if you are a foreigner and you are here in the Philippines, if you plan to retire here, if you have been staying here for a few months and you're wondering why you could not still find a decent job, then yeah, unfortunately, I'm sorry to tell you, you cannot find a job here in the Philippines. Like, if you want to be a call center agent because you speak English good, then no, I'm sorry to say you cannot find a decent job being a call center agent. But I'm telling you that you don't have to worry actually, because even though you cannot find a job here in the Philippines, like for a corporate jobs, but as long as you are well prepared, like prior going here in the Philippines, you did a good research and you are actually prepared that, like, oh, I know that once I get in the Philippines, I cannot find a job. So what I'm just gonna do here is, while I'm still here in the States, is that I'm gonna look for a virtual job, so that as soon as you get here in the Philippines, guys, you can just, you can apply for a virtual jobs because it's completely fine. All you have to do is have your laptop, your internet, of course. Just try to look for a virtual job or a virtual business, or if you want to be a content creator or if you want to be a YouTuber, you can actually do that. All you have to do is to have a content ideas or topics that you want to talk about the Philippines, about the foreigners and stuff, then you can do that. That's one of the things that I would highly recommend, especially if you are a foreigner, like older foreigner or a middle-aged foreigner, and you don't have your pension coming to you every month. Then yeah, being a content creator, a YouTuber, or a vlogger is really, really a must. So the next one, guys, is that most of the foreigners do this, a mistake, buying or investing a land here in the Philippines. And I think this is not new to you foreigners. I think you have already known about this one, that you, as a foreigner, if you are planning to retire here in the Philippines for good, then yeah, you cannot really own a land here in the Philippines unless if you are married to a Filipino woman. So that's one of the only way you can actually have land here in the Philippines or house here in the Philippines. So what I'm gonna tell you guys is that if you are here in the Philippines, do not be impulsive, do not be scammed, or do not be manipulated by these people trying to tell you that, oh, you should buy this one, you should buy this one. If you love me, you should buy this land for me, you should buy this house for me. Do not do that, okay? Always make sure that before you're going to marry a Filipina, let her sign for a prenuptial agreement, just in case that both of you will not work. Like, we don't know, things happen. So let's just say you both will not work, you guys decided to separate ways, and then you have invested and you have purchased a land already because you thought that you're gonna be with her for the rest of your life, and unfortunately she cheated on you, or she finds someone else, or she, like, she doesn't love you anymore. Then yeah, she can only own the land all by herself for her family. And I'm sorry to say, the money that you have just spent for that land, you cannot take it back anymore. So again, it's really important, guys, to do a prior research. Next one is that being scammed by a Filipino woman. Okay, so I know that a lot of you are really wanting to go here in the Philippines looking for a traditional wife. Even if you're gonna say, I'm just gonna go to the Philippines to travel, to have peace of mind and stuff like that, but it's already in men's nature. I know that at the end of the day, after you have traveled here in the Philippines, you're always gonna find a mate, you're always gonna find a girl you're wanting to spend the rest of your life with, or to at least hang out. So you have to make sure to set boundaries and be upfront to your Filipina that, let's just say, just tell your intentions. If you are not up for a serious commitment, or if you are not for a long-term relationship, then you just have to tell her that, hey, I'm just gonna be with you because I don't want to be lonely here, or I just want to spend my short vacation with you, so I think I'll just pay you, or I will just rent you as my girlfriend and stuff like that, so that she will not assume, because other Filipinas are actually, they assume things. They probably think that if you are flirting with them, then at the back of their mind, they will think that you're gonna marry them and stuff like that. So if you don't want to be scammed by a Filipino woman, just make sure to set boundaries and to be upfront with them, and also to be honest with them that I'm not going to give you money, I'm not going to support you financially, I'm not going to support your family, your friends, or whatever is that, because I don't want to be a boyfriend, I don't want a long-term relationship, a serious commitment. I just want a good experience, a fun experience here in the Philippines. So you just really have to be upfront, okay? And aside from that, do not be scammed by a Filipino woman. Let's just say that you find this Filipina very attractive, and you know for sure that she's not really serious, and she's just trying to be, to fool around with you. So if you can really sense that she is not serious and she doesn't have a sincere and genuine intentions towards you, then you just really have to step back, guys, okay? Because trust me, one of these days, or like, they're just gonna wait until you fall in love with them, and they're gonna manipulate you that, oh, if you love me, then buy these things for me, give me money, support me, support my errand, support my whatnot, or whatever is that. Do not be deceived by their beauty, by their youth. I know that some of you want to have sex with these beautiful young ladies, but again, just set boundaries and do not spend your monies over them just because you want to be with them, or just because you're attracted with them. So do not do that. Do not be fooled, do not be deceived, and do not be manipulated. Next one, guys, is jumping in and falling in love. Okay, so I think this is so true. This is one of the dumbest and craziest mistakes that most of the foreigners actually do, especially if these foreigners, especially the older ones, they feel so lonely to the point where they don't really mind spending their money to the Filipino women, and especially to those foreigners who are on dating apps. Let's just say you still couldn't find the Filipina after a few months of staying here, so you decided to sign up for a dating app. And then in a dating app, you find this gorgeous smoking hot Filipina, and you're like, oh, I want to be her boyfriend. Oh, I want her to be my girlfriend. So now you're creating an imagination or delusion that, yeah, I can easily get this Filipino woman. All I have to do is to give her money and stuff like that, which is actually okay. There's nothing wrong if you're gonna support her, if you're just being generous to her, but make sure as well that she has a real, genuine, and sincere intentions towards you. And do not fall in love too soon. I mean, I cannot really judge you guys. I cannot speak in behalf of you. I cannot control your emotions because that's not me and I'm not used. But I'm just speaking based on my personal experience or my observation from other people, because I don't want you also to be disappointed and be discouraged. So if you are in a dating site, or if you have already met a Filipina and you guys have been talking, and then you feel like, oh, she's gonna be the person I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with, without actually knowing everything about her. You don't even know about her family, you don't even know where she lives, you don't even know who, the friends that she surrounds herself with. So you have to really know her first, know everything about her, everything, like literally everything that involves about this Filipino that you're talking to, so that you will not end up regretting your decisions, whatever big moves you're gonna invest or you're gonna do for her, so that you will not get hurt. Because sometimes Filipinas, they can be clingy, they can be affectionate, but they can give you all this kind of good treatment, attention, the time, but they realize, or you will just find out that they actually don't love you, or they are just trying to show you a good friend's treatment. So they actually just see you as a friend but not a lover. So again, you have to protect yourself, especially from Filipino women, because there are a lot of Filipino women who are actually manipulative and trust me, you're not gonna want to experience it. So as much as possible, as early as possible, guys, just set boundaries and know your worth. Do not settle for less just because you feel lonely, just because you want to have someone here in the Philippines. So the next one, guys, is lady boys. All right, so actually, I don't really consider this as a dumb thing or a mistake that most foreigners do, because there's nothing wrong to date with, with lady boys. Because again, I do respect lady boys. I respect bisexual or gays. I respect every one of these people, but I know that we have our own dating preferences, and a lot of you are probably don't want to date, like a lady boy. It's just not your taste, or you don't feel like dating someone like a guy before and a transgender now. I get that, and I completely respect that. So if you don't want to be scammed, or if you don't want to be lied or be deceived by this lady boys who's trying to convince you that they are actually a real woman, then try to investigate, or try to at least communicate with them and ask them this questions. You have to ask them certain questions, whether it's too personal. Well, you just really have to be upfront, like ask them right away that, are you sure that you're a girl? Especially guys, if you are confused, or if you have this second thoughts while you are with them, like you are confused, or you have this, like doubts. Is she really a real girl, or is she a transgender, or is she a lady boy? So if just trust your instinct. If you can feel that there's something's off, then try to ask her questions. And once you find out that she is actually a transgender or a lady boy, and she is actually not a real woman, then just be honest with her, like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought all this time you're a girl, and I'm sorry to say, but I'm actually not interested in dating someone, like a transgender. Then at least both of you are able to address it, so that no one will get hurt and no one will get assumed. Biggest mistakes that most of these foreigners do here in the Philippines is drinking too much alcohol to the point that it will lead to fight or disaster. I have experienced this one. Like, we went to a resto bar this past few weeks, and then I was with my friends that time, and you know what? There were actually this group of foreigners or expats. They are too drunk already, and they have this one friend that very very drunk, guys. Like, he kept catcalling women, and of course this Filipino man, trying to be protective with their Filipino friends, of course they approached the foreigners, and then they said to the foreigners, do not do that, or we will deport you here in the Philippines. I know that you are drunk, but it's not a reason for you to disrespect or to harass women here in the Philippines. So the moral of this story, guys, is that there's nothing wrong to have fun, because obviously we all want to have fun. Life is too short to be stressed out, right? But make sure that you have to drink responsibly, and you have to make sure that you will not get to that point where you will get drunk, and after that you will harass women, you will catcall women, or you will sexualize women and stuff. So do not do that. The next one, guys, is getting snatched and stolen. Okay, so there are actually a lot of foreigners here in the Philippines, especially during holidays or during the peak season. They have experienced that their things were being stolen, or they were being snatched, especially those foreigners who tried going to a jeepney, like inside a jeepney, they are using their phones, and they were not informed that in that city, there were actually a lot of, like snatchers. So they did was using their phone inside a jeepney, and then all of a sudden their phone just completely vanished. Someone snatched the phone. So I don't want you guys to happen that. So the piece of advice I could give you is that as soon as you get here in the Philippines and you want to go to public places, or like crowded places like malls or wet market or mercado, especially in Cebu City, like the downtown city of Cebu, like in Colon area, guys, I'm telling you, you have to keep your things like keep that all inside your bag. Do not use your phone in the public places, especially in the along the road, in the streets. Do not do that, okay? And also just do not trust anyone. I mean, you can be friends with anyone, but that doesn't mean that you can trust them fully. Most of foreigners actually do these mistakes and they regret it. They are actually financially broke now because they are underestimating the cheap cost of living here in the Philippines. Okay, so I know that Philippines is way, way, way cheaper than Western countries like USA. I get it. But guys, if you are here in the Philippines already and you are planning to stretch your money, or if you are trying to be financially okay here, then you have to make sure that you are not going to underestimate the cheaper price, the cheaper, cost of living here in the Philippines, because trust me, that will definitely make you stress out financially, okay? I get it that you probably have this mindset, it's just $1, it's just $2, it's just $5 and stuff like that. I get that. But again, if you really want to have your money for, to stretch out and for a long run, then you have to at least, like try to live like a Filipino. Do not live like a foreigner here in the Philippines. I mean, obviously, you're a foreigner. You're always gonna have your foreign cultures, foreign habits, your foreign things that you are used to doing way back in your country. I get that. But since you are here in the Philippines, and I just want you to be aware, and I just want to give you a realistic expectation that doesn't mean that you have dollars and it will be converted into peso, doesn't mean that your money will not run out. Because again, remember that money is finite. It will eventually run out, especially if you have this toxic mindset that it's okay, it's cheap here in the Philippines, I can stretch out my money, I have dollars here. No, do not do that, okay? Always to keep in mind that just try to live like a Filipino and try to live below your means, and yes, you will definitely be financially stress free. Last but not the least, guys, is that getting Filipino women pregnant. Okay, so you know what? I really hate this part because a lot of foreigners are actually here in the Philippines, randomly having sex with random Filipino women, and then they just find out that these Filipino women that they had intimate with or they had sex with are actually pregnant. And now they're coward enough to escape their responsibility and they're going back to their home, they're going back to the States to leave the responsibility that they have created here in the Philippines with a young, innocent, naive Filipino woman. So, like, it's just really frustrating that there are actually a lot of foreigners do that. And the sad reality is, unfortunately, most of the men who do that, get a Filipina pregnant, they are actually older men, they are matured men. So, you're matured man, you're supposed to know exactly how it feels like being abandoned, being left alone, especially you are carrying a child, you are pregnant. So do not do that, guys, okay? I just don't want you to taint your nationality. I don't want to taint or to put a negative name in your, like a foreigner. So as much as possible, if you just want to travel here in the Philippines and you just want to have sex, like a casual sex, casual hookup, and not ready to be a father or to be a father again to raise another kid, then try to use a contraceptive, like try to use a condom or anything like that, so that you will avoid getting unexpected pregnancy or unplanned pregnancy with your Filipino women.